Everyone, my presentation today is about the digital socialization, about exploring the effects of technology on sociolinguistics. Expertise is applied linguistics, and I just had my PhD a year ago in applied linguistics from the UK. So mainly the dual role now here for my presentation is the two sides effects between society on language and language on society. And because we are members of this society, for sure we have noticed all the effects of technology on our daily linguistic usages within these technical appliances that we are using. So just a quick look here on the literature. Since 1912, Edward Spear argued that language, human society, and the environment are related. But in 1972, it has developed to be for the speech community, which Labov has put forward in his analysis of the association between language and society. In the in the recent era, specifically in 2015, from 2015 until recent age, the traditional idea of speech community has now developed and expanded into a sociolinguistic concept that embodies all the numerous modern methods of communication, including the digital social networks, which allow people to establish virtual networks. And we can see these in all social media channels, like, for example, Instagram, Twitter, and all these things that can be publicly shared, and we can measure all the linguistics efforts, or let's say effects, from all over the world. Whenever you are publicly shared posts, for example, on Twitter, you can see how common words or common, let's say, multimodality shared communication is common among all the users. So since the beginning of the internet evolution, researchers have split between categorizing TMD. TMD is the technologically mediated they have been interested in sides of the coin, a coin showing TMD affects and is affected as well by speech community. On one side of the coin, we have the social and contextual factors that shape online language usage, much as they do offline language. So here we have like a comparison between the online and offline languages, while the other side of the coin is the role of linguistic variability in the formation of social interaction. It is the other way around. So here it is the social and contextual factors which the society or members, individuals do on the technology, and here it is the technology effect on society. So the role of linguistic variability in the formation of social interaction and social identities on the internet. And the identities here is the key word, because the identities of the users is explicitly can be shown in their language usages in technology channels. So this my paper discusses how technologically mediated discourse, which has been pointed to previously as TMD, affects and is affected by people, either as individuals or in groups, and how this linguistic evolution reflects social reactions. While linguistic studies on TMD tend to lose validity due to the rapid changes, as you can see, because uh, uh, each channel of communication is going through very rapid changes according to the, for example, updates of this channel or effect of new generations that make it difficult to keep up with it. It is crucial to continuously document these changes in order to provide the timeline of the use of TMD over the years. So the main idea here is how to use TMD as to document all these linguistic and sociolinguistic changes throughout the years. So the language, I will here on one side focus on the effect on TMD on people from one side, which consists of 2 points. The language of TMD, code switching in TMD shows that internet users do not maintain formal restrictions between languages like they do in face-to-face spoken conversations, which give way to multilinguals, therefore consider it as a safe space for them to switch between languages if it achieves the targeted functions without being observed like offline language. Lingua franca of TMD. Although the number of English language users has decreased over the past, the use of English as a lingua franca on the internet by non-native English speakers has increased. Moreover, sociolinguists who study internet multilingualism find a noticeable impact of language on other languages through, for example, borrowed terminology and common shortenings. Here we have the other side of the coin, which is the effect of people on TMD with 2 sides. One is the stylistics and the other one is the politeness. From stylistics point of view, it shows the importance of the visual and nonverbal merits in human communication, which we don't have in the offline language. It only maybe embodies the body language, while in online communication, we have all these nonverbal cues, and how internet users offset the absence of such circumstantial potentials in the internet written interaction. On the other side, there is the politeness. Participants can be read with clarity, with no focus on aspects of politeness that we suffer in the offline languages, like interruptions or over turn taking, that are examined in traditional spoken conversations, such as overlapping speech and turn taking. So members of TMD are familiar with open etiquette norms. They have the etiquette of the online communication. They know that everyone can be heard at different times. So in this slide, there is a glimpse on the social reactions that online communication has on the society, like the globalization. This term means the relationship between the global networks and the local identities, emerging online with the local, adopting features of the global by employing strategies to maintain its identity. So there is the struggle between global networks and local identities, how online users can maintain their identities and emerge in the global networks. Another aspect is gender in TMD. Researchers frequently reported systematic differences between males and females in discourse patterns. The last one is how to create identities on online communities, which has been like a debate that Goffman has pointed to in 1969 as an image of language users as theater performers in online languages. Users show the Asian uses. So in conclusion, there are similarities between online and offline language. For example, having English language as the lingua franca for both offline and online. However, language use on the internet language has been found to enhance linguistic diversities as well as minority groups' languages. Second, the most significant feature of TMD is the anonymity of online interaction, which enables some advantages like freedom of expression, but also intentional aggression. The last one, but not least, TMD has been found to be helpful means that reflects individuals' novel ways of emerging in communities, negotiating their identities, and presenting themselves in free space, regardless of time and geographical boundaries. Thank you very much.
My research is about visual integration technology in the pediatric medical departments of the educational hospital. Yes, it's about how we can indicate the healing environments in the pediatric medical departments in educational hospital. It is very, very important matter in order to remove the fear and deny and the horror from the children when they go to the hospital. Abstract, the employment of the art technology techniques in enhancing visual perception in children's departments in educational hospital is a necessary part of the formation of the environment that promotes well-being, and advanced technological techniques have helped to provide visual and sensory stimuli in the internal spaces in children's hospitals that enable children to enhance their sense of belonging to them and keep them away from the barrier of fear, sadness, horror of the hospital, and reduce their time in it and accelerate the recovery periods. Yes. Therefore, it is necessary to study the techniques of visual integration that achieve visual integration in children's hospital by studying how to achieve hospital environments in them. Thus, the research aims to find out the role of technological techniques that enhance visual integration to achieve hospitalization indicators in the medical departments of children in the teaching or educational hospital. Research hypotheses the achievement of hospitalization indicators in the medical departments of children and the teaching hospital through integration and visual perception techniques accelerate the recovery of children and reduce the duration of their stay inside the hospital. So our methodology, the research involves the inductive approach through the investigation of the previous literature on all that was written and put forward in scientific research. So keyword, we have keyword technologies, visual integration, visual perception, hospitals setting, multisensory room, educational hospital. Yes. Visual integration is the overall configuration that consists of a sympathetic system of relationships that connect parts and the whole in an optical integration. If you look at the new word and then match it with an image in your mind to help better remember that the word means. This will be an example of visual integration as you will look like this a new hospital in the world. How can the children learn from the landmarks and from the pictures that they can teach from them? Yes, healing environments are the part of the therapeutic environment of the healthcare buildings and describe the physical and cultural environments that support patients and families by alleviating the stress imposed by illness, accelerating hospitalization and medical visits, the healing process, and someone fair. Yes. Now, educational hospital. The Iraqi Ministry of Health defined it in its 2021 blocks as a hospital or medical center that provide medical education and training for current and future health practitioners. Teaching hospitals are linked to medical schools and work closely with medical students throughout their enrollment at the university, especially during their partnership. Yes. Now, the first axis, the theoretical framework. First, healing theories. The theories of recovery that led to hospital environments will be addressed. One, attention restoration theory, carried out by two psychologists, Stephen Kabbalan and Richard Kabbalan in 1980, which explained the impact of the nature environments on the mental activity of humans in general and the child in practical. And the basic idea within the theory is restore attention. Yes, and this is how the restore attention will be happened. We have direct attention fatigue lead to the effortless attention to the restored attention. Yes, and this is some examples of for the hospital of children. It is one of the most famous teaching hospitals. We can see the monumental that let the attention of the children go inside it, and to be very realize the monumental, which have a very beautiful color and very effect that move away the horror and the fear from them. Yes. The research concludes the attention should be to topics of interest the child and develop his ideas and increase his knowledge of and stay away from everything that is harmful to him, such as loud sounds and hurtful words and loud colors and exaggerated lighting that harm him, and to be a kind of development of skills and enhance his mental abilities. We have the second theory, the theory of love of nature life, biophilia. It is the innate attraction between human child and the other vital system. Innately emotional application of a human child begins to the other living organization according therapeutic benefits occur, because the human mind develops along with and within the nature world, and is evolutionary linkage shows the involuntary response to environmental signals. Yes. This is an example of one of the hospital it is Royal Hospital, a Bedrein hospital in Netherlands. We can see the natural view and the monumental, just like the monumental in the nature. We have the tree and we have the silent light from nature. We have a silent color in it. Yes. The research conducted that the achievement of the principle of biophilia is through the introduction of elements of nature with the space of hospital for children, such as trees, space, and cartoon characters. So this is the example of Shenzhen's hospital for the children. It is designed as the biophilia principle. We can see that monumental of trees and have two birds and a monumental of birds inside it. It is just like the small natures inside the hospitals. And we can see how the children are very happy on it. The theory of cognitive, the third theory is the theory of cognitive. It is developed and it's a stage for the child from James Piaget, Stephen Jones through Kendra Sabri. This is the resource. The development of knowledge in a child expands through his age, as shown that children move through 4 different stages of learning and discover the outside world around them, where his theory focuses not only on the understanding how children acquire knowledge, but also on understanding the nature of intelligence. Piaget says children plays an active role in the learning process, acting like young scientists and the experiments. Yes, and now we can have Piaget and his classification of the stages of child development from for Piaget are sensory staged from birth to 2 years, pre-puberty ages from 2 to 7 years, for sight stage for the children from age 7 to 11, and the fourth stage is official qualification stage, puberty age 12 and above. Yes. The research believed that healing is achieved by reaching spaces, gathering places, and waiting spaces that help children sit, relax, eat, or play with their peers, escape from the stressful environment inside the hospital, and get rid of anxiety, and his help them speed their recovery from disease, and that the external environments is the source of knowledge for the child, and the first thing he learns from his external environments, which must include sensory and visual stimuli through the child acquires acknowledgement. Yes. The third, visual perception and visual integration of the relationship between them. Visual integration, as we defined it by the Scott, through the international parts relationship for the purpose of achieving the total composition. Visual integration presents the total configuration, which consists of a synesthetic system of relationship that connect the parts and the whole in visual integration. Visual integration from Everin and Audi pointed out the visual integration occurs when many visual skills work together. When we look at a new word, then match it with an image in the mind to help better remember that the word means. This will be an example of visual integration. Yes. Fourth axis is the internal spaces. Hospital environments are the originally internal spaces. The internal spaces is spaces defined by the architectural elements of the structure, such as columns, walls, ceilings, floors, etc., and is determined part of the infinity space to design it. The internal space, that organization of the internal space and the selection of its elements, achieving its aesthetic and functional needs, and is not intended to be the principles to design under strict laws, but also to be guides to the methods of organizing design elements into distinctive and clear forms. Yes. Example, the multisensory room at United Children's Center, Binoff Children's Hospital at San Francisco. It is the prototype with colored lights and different textures to soothe a child dealing with sensory processing or pain management problem. There is no hospital bed. There is a rug and a chair placed under the shimmering fiber, opaque waterfall, a disco ball, and stars dancing around the ceiling and changing color. Instead of TV screen, there are toys with a pleasure texture, some of which gently vibrate or light to the touch, hug columns swirling bubbles and the ladder of 15 degrees of light. So that we can, this is the example of the prototype of a multisensory room. It is sensory that move all the sense of the children, his hearing, his eye, his mouth. When can he look in every corner? His sensory is go ahead with very extra thoughts. Yes. A multisensory room, according to the Egyptian Academy of Special Education, is the room designed and equipment to stimulate the sense of hearing, sight, smells, and touch, and it contains soft-padded floors, walls, cushions, and grain badges that help create an environment in which children cannot harm themselves, and its goal is to create an environment in which each patient feels safe and is given the opportunity of explore spaces with its capabilities and limits. Yes, and also we can reach to the so we have the science and the play elements can be used in children's hospital clearly and educatively, and help users to reach their destination through corridors and gathering places, and enable them to return to their intended places, and should be used in points. Hotspots, attention grabbing, Child's feelings must be taken into account and how to attract his attention upon admissions to the hospital through visual formations with sensory effects that help him to remove the barrier of fear and terror and help him enhance his sense of belonging to the hospital. Yes. Fourth axis, elements of restorative environments by Rachel and Stephen. The identified 4 features of an environment that make it restorative and in good relationship with the recipient. The environments must contain stimuli that give a sense of awe and surprise. Number 2, stay away. The environment should allow the person to feel as if he is far from his fear and daily life. Range, the sensation of traveling through the environments, the ability to feel connected to elements in the environments. 4, the compatibility. It determines the compatibility of the characteristic, the environments with innate human tendencies, attention, restoration. Yes, this is the indicator of healing environments. The 5th axis, building the new model. I built a new model by combining the 2 theories, attention grab theory and biophilia theory. We can combine them together and through new techniques that enhance visual perception in children's hospital. Number 2, through the development of elements and sculptures similar to nature and sound effects and colors different from the familiars and in certain numbers within the spaces. Gathering for children within the hospital building can attract attention and excite the child. The following diagram shows the new model of the possibilities of enhancing visual perception. This is my new model. I translate in the English. So we have received the stimuli here, elements same with nature. This is from the reattention theory. This is transfer the analysis in the mind, transfer and analyze the effect of elements, use techniques just like color, sound, light, etc. This is biophilia theory. When we took these elements just like the nature and we put it the techniques, color, sound, lights, etc., we can storage the visual information in the memory. This is the 3rd stage, and we can create elements with visual and sensory effects. Yes, and this is the indicator of healing environments. It is gathering from biophilia theory and resort attention theory, and it is technical technical visual integration. This is must be achieved the 4 indicator of the healing environments. And we can. This is the analysis of the optimal healing environments for the pediatric children in the world. I gathering it and analyze it in order to apply my new model is applied in educational hospital. The research believed that the global trends in achieving hospital environments in children's hospitals are identical to the model that has been reached. Where we see components and elements that attract the attention of child, such as cartoons, characters, and components of an African forest, and through stimulus and sound effects represented by an influential music or cute tones, attention grabbing theory, and by introducing nature lighting at comfortable rates that do not cause brightness and are harmless, compatible with artificial lighting with relaxing the child physical. Yes. And conclusion, the conclusion appears the fifth axis. By studying the application of the new model was built the research. The elements of the restorative environment hospitalization are achieved through the introduction of elements and models that are beloved by the child and close to his reality, cartoons, characters, and provide that is harmless to the child and does not cause him any harm, and from environmentally friendly material. The technical foundation of technology plays a major role in achieving hospital environments by rating certain materials according to specific techniques to produce internal surfaces with zigzag shapes and twisted shapes used in the internal spaces of children's hospitals that are products of technological developments. The technologies used in luminous ducts, surface tubes, artificial lighting, filtration, and distribution are the product of advanced technology. A sense of a dynamism and a poetic expression through the use of transparent materials that attract the eye with the connection of the design with the interconnectedness, visual tension, and points of visual coordination. Thank you very much for your listening to my research.
Thank you. Thank you. You have done a wonderful research, ma'am. And the topic is also very nice.
Okay, my name is Rosinio Prasetyo from University of Brawijaya, Malang, Indonesia. The paper entitled Implementation of LoRa on the Wireless Sensor Network Based Public Street Lighting Monitoring System. And the author is Heru Nurwasito, and I'm Rosinio Prasetyo as co-authors. And the outline of presentation, the first is introduction, second is literature review, and third methodology, research and discussion, and conclusion. First, introduction. The background of the research is street lighting or public street lighting is a public facility that is used for vehicle lighting at night and also has a specific purpose to reduce the rate of motorized vehicle accident at night. At this time, the agency that plays an important role in handling PSL is Disperkim, Housing and Settlement Area Service in PSL repair and PSL maintenance. PSL monitoring at its point is less effective as L damage cannot be detected directly. The procedure for proving PSL damage by field officer still takes time before PSL repairs can be carried out. The research question number one is, how can a node detect a broken lamp in PSL? Number two is, how can sensor net communicate the result of PSL damage detection to the gateway using the LoRa module? Number three is, how can officer monitor data from damage detection at each PSL point? And the aim of the research is to create a PSL light monitoring system. Number two is to detect the type of interference that occurs in PSL light. Number three is to create an interface that user can use to monitor web-based PSL lights. Number two is literature review. First is Internet of Things, one of technology that relies on the internet on and some hardware as a communication medium is the Internet of Things, or commonly called IoT. Is a network infrastructure concept that relies on several devices and internet connection that are capable of sending information online monitoring. Wireless sensor network refers to a group of sensors on network to monitor and record the physical condition of the environment to manage the data collected at a central location. Sensors in this equipment are used to capture or collect information according to the characteristic of the sensor. Next is LoRa. LoRa or long range is a low power wide area network protocol developed by Semtex. It is based on a spectrum modulation technique derived from chip spectrum technology. And the last is the web, the World Wide Web or WW, also known as the web, is one of the services obtained by a computer user connected to the internet. A website can be defined as a collection of pages are used to display textual information, still or moving image, animation, sound, or a combination of this static on dynamic page. Number 3 is methodology. The first step is literature review, and second step is requirement engineering. Third step is system design, and fourth step implementation, and 5 result in this and discussion. Number 6 is conclusion. So here is PSL monitoring system design. PSL node consists of 3 parts, namely sensor, microcontroller, and communication module. The and the gateway node consists 2 parts, LoRa and communication LoRa and ESP32. The system can be set active if every part of the system can work properly, starting from the sensor, microcontroller, LoRa communication tools, database, and laptops. The sensor works to monitor current and voltage data on public street lighting, which is processed by the Arduino Nano microcontroller. Data in the form of current and voltage sent through a LoRa communication module with a linear multi-hop LoRa protocol, so that communication is carried out indirectly to the gateway through other nodes that can be function as a router and forwarded to the gateway node. Next is system flow diagram. The system will first run the sensor to retrieve the data, then input and process analog to digital converter on its node of the Arduino Nano microcontroller. Node 1 will send sensor data that has been processed using the LoRa module to LoRa node 2. Node 1 Node 2 will collect the data from its own sensor as well as data from Node 1 and send it via LoRa on the gateway node, where at the gateway node, all data collected will be processed and then uploaded to Firebase database. The data has been stored in the database, then be retrieved using Web API, so the data can be displayed on the user web display. Here is script for SensorNet implementation. Import the libraries for LoRa and energy monitor to analog to digital converter. Next is implementation in Node Gateway. Import the Firebase and libraries for ESP32 and define the Wi-Fi to connect the internet. It is from implementation user interface. The user can see the PSL lights in the web. In PSL1 is active and PSL2 is inactive because the current is 0. So result in this question. This is a sensor accuracy testing. Accuracy testing is a test aimed to the accuracy on the PSL lamp current and voltage data from the system output. Testing the functionality of the current and voltage sensor node using a light bulb, which has a wattage of 100 watt and 75 watt, to be able to test whether the sensor node can be retrieve current and voltage data. Based on tests carried above, it shows that the current and voltage sensor node functionally can work well because the sensor node using the SCT NIL 13 and JMPT 101B modules can retrieve current and voltage data with relatively small differences with an average accuracy 92.4% for the current sensor and 99.35% for the voltage sensor. Next is sensor node communication testing. In this figure, PSL1 sensor node takes current and voltage, then the data has been obtained is send LoRa to PSL2. In this figure, sensor node takes current and voltage data. The PSL2 node also receive data from PSL1 node. Then the data from node PSL1 and PSL2 is sent using LoRa to gateway node. Here is user interface setting, interface testing. The user can monitor the PSL1 and PSL2 is active or inactive. The next, LoRa successful retesting. Based on the test result, it was determined that the successful rate at 100 meter is very good. In loss condition was 100%, and the worst in and loss condition was 64% at a distance of 400 meter. Based on, therefore, it can be concluded that the greater data transmission distance and the greater the obstacle during the data transmission, the lower the success of rate data transmission. Next is testing packet loss LoRa. Based on the test result, it was determined that the packet loss rate was very good, namely 0% at 100 meter under loss condition, while the worst was 36% at 400 meters under and loss condition. Therefore, it can be concluded that the greater data transmission distance and the greater presence of object in the data transmission barrier. Next is receives signal strength indication LoRa testing or RSSI, the result of the tests that have been carried out so that the base RSI value is at a distance of 100 meters under loss condition of minus 79.5 dBm and the worst signal level is at a distance 400 meter with and loss condition of min 104 dBm, so that the RSI value is greater if the data transmission distance is closer and there are no obstacle in receiving the signal. And the last testing is fire-based monitoring. In the fire-based monitoring test using data from the Wireshark application, it was sampled for 5 minutes and 158 data were obtained in the table to the calculation with the data and get the this result. Delayed throughput and packet loss values are very good, influenced by the internet speed used in the test. So the conclusion is number 1, the node can detect damage to the lamp on the PSL by using the SCT-913 sensor which retrieve current data and ZMPT 101B which retrieve voltage data. Obtain an average value of accuracy 92.4% for the current sensor and accuracy of 99.35% for the voltage sensor, so that user can find out lamp damage effectively. Number 2, sensor node can communicate the result of bulb damage detection properly using LoRa. Based on the result LoRa performance testing, it shows that a good distance for transmitting data is between 100 and 300 meters in loss condition for and loss condition at a distance of 100 to 200 meters. This is proven by testing several parameters such as the successful rate, packet loss, and RSI. And number 3 is officer can monitor data from detection of damage to PSL by accessing the web through a browser located on the user device from a laptop. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Nice research work.
A very good afternoon to all the eminent dignitaries present over here. I am Abhishek Dem, a PhD research scholar at Academicsera, Ranchi, India. First of all, I thank to my guide, Dr. Satish Chandar, for guiding me at his best throughout my research work. And I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers and the conveners for providing me this opportunity to give me my presentation at your front. My title of my research work is classifying the face features beta recognition for beta recognition and the detection. So the abstract, the AdaBoost. So what is the face recognition? You must know the face recognition is the technique of the image processing by which we can check the image, noisy image or dirty image, so that some techniques can be implemented. Here we are using AdaBoost Viola-Jones algorithm, AVZA, and the specific neural network SSCNN has been developed to use for this type of recognition and detection. Method initially recognized image faces by calculating the global facial methods in different locations and postures. In the previous methods, we got the accuracy rate by detecting the images is not so much, so that we are using ABZA and SSCNN algorithm for getting the better result. The SSCNN used to learn the complex face detected image features. So introduction, the face brushing technology on the application face scanning and mobile phone face unlocking are just a few of the place face detection and recognition has been found in the recent work. With the recent deep learning implement, the deep learning is a method by which we can express the layer model by which we can recognize a multi-dimensional photos or the multi-dimensional images. So automated effort system based on DCNNs overcome human faces and recognition under the constant parameters like standard and lightening in the frontal position. If the position of the images are not cleared by the user, then we can plot them in a neural network platform by which we can check the layers and we can detect the images from the initial pattern to the final pattern. So there are several technology or algorithm has been used. The first of all, we can use the cascade technologies or the hard cascade technologies. By this, we can extract the features, the clear images from the input. The contributions, the ABZA, the Adobus Viola-Jones algorithm, which can be unconstrained for the face features, was proposed for the face detection. We proposed SSCNN, superficial shallow convolutional neural network techniques for the face identification to learn the complete features of the face detected image. So the literature review, and Henan's face recognized system was the result of the input face image being described. So multiple faces can be implemented and can be detected. If the raw image can be detected, can be extracted, so that we can use this type of algorithm. So trained 2-layer CNN and higher level features for the face recognition using a face representation. The features, image, and the matrix were recreated after the facial image was segmented. The segmentation is the tool by which we can segment in a multi-dimensional images. If the images can be into 3x3 or into 4x4 matrix, then we can take the images from the upper portion to lower portion, from the right hand to left hand. The side portion can be extracted from the real image. So what is the problem? What is the problem? The problem is the current approaches only detect the frontal facial image using the face-like features and normalize the pixel variation and rendering them the vulnerable unconstrained images. So unconstrained images means if the images are having lots of noises. Okay, because most system only handle the face image, traditional face recognition models are useless for unknown facial inquiry. So that the effective FDR, means face detection and recognition model, has been presented using the Adobus technology or the Adobus algorithm and the SSC neural network model. So the objective to detect the face by the proposed ABZA algorithm has been handled the unconstrained face images. To learn the face detect images complicated features for the face recognition using the proposed superficial shallow convolutional neural network method. So this is the face area detection where we can detect the image. If the input image are in a matrix form, in a various approaches and the properties, so that we can detect the individual image through ABZA algorithm. So ABZA algorithm is the detecting algorithm. By selecting the features, after selecting the features, we can integrate them and we can distribute and distinguish the image in a creation, and then we can use the training of the particular images. So training, it means we can use the machine learning technique either the supervised learning or unsupervised learning. We can test them. After test them, we can train them, and after train them, we can implement it in the cascading platform. Okay, so the phase segmentation is done using ABZA. The original VGA algorithm only detects the frontal phases, making it insufficient or inefficient for the sides upward and downward, as we discussed earlier. So there are 4 stages. So after implementing the ABZA algorithm, we can use the SSCNN, that is used for the face recognition system. So after recycling or rescaling the input image, we can normalize the image. After normalize the image, we can segregate the image, whether the image is known to us or unknown to us. If the database is containing the known feature, then it can be implemented that the person is known for us. If the database is not having the person details, we can say that the person is unknown to us. So these are the 2 techniques by which we can easily detect or recognize the image. So the 4 stages or steps to comprise the ABZA algorithm is the selecting the features. The first we have to select the features, then constructing an integral images, and then implement the adabus joining, and then we can cascade. So these 4 techniques can implement together for the face area detection and recognition. So these are the 4 techniques or the features we can implement in the adabus. The first thing is the selecting the features, integral the image creation, the adabus the training, and the cascading. So what is the normalization and rescaling? The pre-processing methods employing the face detection utilize image rescaling and normalization to boost the features extraction quality. So as we discussed, the extraction quality is dependent upon the image, what type of image we are taking as an input. After implementing the images as a normalized form, then we can rescaling them, we can get the output after getting the extraction policies or features. Due to the model's generalization, the face image with a different scale process produce a non-conforming features representation for the rescaling technique. The normalization is a conducted normalized range of pixel values. So dependable upon the how to restrict the images and extract from the input, we can plot them in a normalized way as in a pixel format. So this is the recognition of a face. So we normalize the images input through a proposed shallow convolutional neural network, or this is the SSCNN, when the input can be divided into shallow layer, and then it can be accessed together by contribution and pooling and connected each other to get the facial structure. Okay, so this layer structure is used for the historical face landmarks to create the sketch of the vector. So here you are implementing a knowledge that is vector tool or vector pooling. So vector pooling is an idea or a technique to implement the input sketch. Input sketch means if the milestones or the historical things are there, then we can sketch them and we can use the this technology or these techniques to implement this algorithm, the neural network algorithm, to get the better features of the previous techniques. So the recognition of faces can be identified by the 4 things. The first one is stage of the shape prediction. The shape prediction means what type of shape we are providing or we are getting from the images. Okay, so as we discussed from that, not only the front view of the images, we can check the back view, upper view, and the lower view, right view, or the left view. So from that direction, we can check the shape of an individual images. So convolution layer. So layer can be 3 types: pooling layer, staging layer, and intermediate layer. So this layer can implemented to check the size, the histogram size, and the pixel value and the pixel rate of the individual images. So the pooling layer. So pooling layer can segregate the images and extract the noise images from the input image. And the last one is the fully connected layer. So fully connected layer is used to convert the low-level image to high-level image. So this is the technique, the acquisition of the images by the camera interfacing. Okay, so these are the high vision GS2CD T85FWD. These are the IP by camera captures image. There are 8 megapixel camera record 1248 pixels. The 720 high resolution videos as 15 FPS. The first, the camera captured the image which is recorded and analyzing using as previously we can use the MATLAB. In the current scenario, we can use the Python language for the improved of the resolution of the camera interface. Okay, so the maximum resolution can be implemented up to 3840 into 2160. Day and night vision can be easily captured. The digital noise reduction is 2 minimum in the current scenario, and up to 8 megapixel or more than 8 megapixel can be implemented for the resolution. So these are the description we are using. So here we are using the LFW database that used to investigate the topic of the unconstant facial recognition. So more than 13,000 photos faces can be integrated and can be implemented to extract the input images, and then we can detect the images, then scale the images and normalize the images and getting the output images. Okay, so whenever we are getting the 13,000 photos, where the 5749 photos are identifiers and the 1680 persons with 2 or more images, because these images are having the activities or the behavior of the facial expression of that particular images. Okay, if the one man is having the various expression, so we can detect the duplicate photos from this method. So every person face image has been matched with their proper name. So these are the result analysis, the performance analysis. So in the previous recognition accuracy has been performed by the CNN model or ANN model or ENN model or DNN model. That's up to 80 to 92.32%. Okay, so it is starting from the CNN model, the normal neural network model, conventional neural network model, that was 86.3%. Okay, after implementing the Viola-Jones algorithm, VGA, and the joint cascading techniques, that has been improved. Okay, and the current scenario, we are using the models of AUC, AP, RA, and RA. The proposed SSCNN methods give us 98.15 accuracy. Okay, so the conclusion, a study has been produced a novel, efficient FDR system that makes the use of ABJ and SSCNN for the face image recognition. The proposed model outcomes the baseline system with the accuracy of 98.15%. This compared against the existing GNN, CNN, ANN, and ENN approach using the measures as a RA, AUC, and AP. Okay, so the future work can be implemented by using these 2 types of algorithm. We can extract much more images, noisy images in real time with much more than 98.15. We are expecting that we can get more than 99% of accuracy of the particular images, whether the images are noisy images or maximum images. Okay, so these are the references. I am just plotting on the 4 references, but we are having more than 25 references. Thank you.
Thank you, Avinash, for your wonderful presentation.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
And a nice topic indeed with respect to the new technology you have worked on, and the extensive work which you have carried out is really nice. Thank you. We'll be in touch with respect to this work, how we can collaborate and see what other face recognition technique, how we can integrate with the physical systems and make it more practical and all with the application wise. We can see how we can go ahead.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes,
We'll be in touch. Please share your email address in the chat box. So we'll see how we can take the research through collaborations to the next level.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Manushama Panhunkeo. Today, I would like to present in the topic of effects of intermediate principal stress on biaxial compressive strength of rocks. This is my outline of the presentations. The main topics are as follows here. Okay, let's begin with introductions. Determinations of stability of underground opening bodily. Usually relies upon the uniaxial compressive strength of host rocks. A significant limitations of such approach is that the intermediate principal stress is not taken into account. It has been found that compressive strength obtained from uniaxial testing cannot represent the actual in-situ rock strength. This conventional analysis sometimes gives a non-conservative result. This figure shows that the intermediate principal stress confine the rocks in such a way that fractures can only be initiated and propagated in the directions parallel to maximum principal stress and intermediate principal stress. Therefore, is the origins of my research. So, research objectives of this study are: first, determine the effects of intermediate principal stress on rock strength by biaxial test method. Second, calculate elastic properties and strength parameters using modified Weibels and Cook criteria. And third, determine effects of intermediate principal stress on stabilities of circular opening bodily. About rock specimens, 9 rock types selected in these studies are commonly found in the northeast of Thailand, shown in this table, including granite, limestone, marble, gypsum, sandstone, and siltstone. The sandstone and gypsum specimens are prepared to have bedding plane normal to the major principal direction. About test apparatus and method. Uniaxial and biaxial tests will be performed under dry conditions with a polyaxial loading frames, shown in this figure. Rock specimens have dimensions of 54 by 54 by 54 cubic millimeters. 5 specimens has been prepared for each rock type. For biaxial test, increasing the maximum principal stress at a rate of 0.1 megapascal per second, while maintain the minimum principal stress equals 0, and intermediate principal stress is increased at a rate of 0.025, 0.05, 0.075, and 0.1 megapascal per second. For the load parameters of 0.5, 0, -0.5, and -1 respectively. For uniaxial test, the intermediate principal stress and minimum principal stress are maintained equal to 0. And the applied loading constant is at 0.1 megapascal per second. Test results. These figures give examples of stress strain curves obtained from the biaxial compression test of granite under various load parameters. The calculated strength and elastic parameters of our tested rocks are shown in this table. Granite shows the highest compressive strength, while gypsum shows the lowest values. When considering the rock strength, it can be seen that the strength initially increased with increasing the intermediate principal stress or with the decreasing load parameter. From these tables, it shows that the maximum strengths are reached at the load parameters of about -0.5. Below load parameters equal -0.5, the major principal stress at failure decreases. This holds true for all tested rocks. About process specimens, from these figures, it can be explained that the increase of intermediate principal stress or decrease of load parameter induce multiple extensile fractures on the specimen. These fractures are parallel to the maximum principal plane to intermediate principal plane. The largest intermediate principal stress values are applied, the greater numbers of the tensile factors are obtained. These modes of failures can be observed more clear stone rocks, such as granite, as compared to the softer rocks like gypsum. From these diagrams, elastic parameters for the 9 rock types show that both elastic modulus and Poisson ratio tend to be independent of the changes of intermediate principal stress and load parameter. And this may be due to the intrinsic variabilities of the rock. About strength criteria, the modified Weibull and Cook criteria is used to describe the test results as it's capable of incorporating all 3 principal stress.
No, your slides are not moving. We can just still see only the first slide.
Pardon?
I can see only the first slide. The first slide, effect of intermediate principal stress on biaxial compressive strength of rocks. I can just see the first slide.
I don't understand what you say.
The slides are not moving. The slides are not changing.
Sorry, I don't understand.
The presentation slide.
Could you try in text in this Zoom?
Please, your slide is not moving. We have only the front slide, please. Can you moving your slide for your presentation?
My last slide?
Your slide not moving there. Your slide, your present. Yes, yes. We want to see what slide you reach to, please.
Okay, I will stop here and I will starting again. Okay.
Just close the first sharing screen. Again, start the sharing screen again.
Do you see that? Hello, do you see it? Do you see
yes,
that?
yes, you reach to the slide
yes.
number 15. You reach to the slide number 15. We have slide number 15, test results.
Yes, now the slides are moving. Yes, you are getting the 15, 16, 17, 18 slides there. You can start now.
Yes, continue.
Okay. Start. Can I start this slide? Can I start the slides now? Sorry. Okay, I'll start now. Okay, about strength criteria. The modified Weibull and Cook criteria is used to describe the test results as is capable of incorporating all 3 principal stresses as failure, in particular to assess the effects of intermediate principal stress on the failure stress under various confining pressure. It's applied to the test results shown in this figure. The diagrams of this criteria is not linear and compares the predictions failure envelopes with the test results. In this diagram, the points are the test result and the lines are prediction failure envelopes. The predictive capabilities of the proposed strength criteria for the 9 tested rocks is determined using the mean misfit as an indicator. The lower mean misfit value of our tested rocks are shown in this table, suggesting that the modified Weibull and Cook criteria can describe the rock strength under biaxial conditions. About curve solutions, for analysis about stress around a circular hole in a finite place, it's proposed to demonstrate the effects of intermediate principal stress on the stabilities of a deep tunnel. This assumes that rock surrounding the cylindrical tunnel behaves as a linearly elastic material. The equation for solving this problem is very used and is commonly referred to as curved solutions. The equation assumes that the tunnel is under plane strain condition. Equation shown in this slide to find tangential stress at tunnel boundary. And this equation to find axial stress allow the tunnel exists. For analysis, this diagram plots the factor of safety on the circular opening boundaries. Comparing the conventional approach with this consider the effects of intermediate principal stress. The diagram demonstrates that factor of safety of biaxial strength of Weibull by tangential stress has a greater safety value than uniaxial strain by tangential stress. And the two approaches are identical only when load parameter equals 1. The factor of safety increases to the maximum when load parameter decreases toward or when Poisson ratio increases to 0.33. And discussions and conclusions. The findings from this study can be summarized follow. First, elastic parameters and Poisson ratios tend to be independent of the load parameter. Second, intermediate principal stress affects rock strength. Modified Weibulls and Cook criteria can well describe rock strength under biaxial conditions. And last one, factor of safety analyzed from biaxial strength are higher than those based on uniaxial composition. Okay, thank you for your attention. Okay, I'm finished. I'm finished my presentation. I will stop.
Thank you.
Okay.
Of coating. Currently, the coating attracts remarkable attention from research all over the world due to the properties such as high value of hardness, module of elasticity, corrosion, and wear resistance, and less friction characteristic. Obviously, the durability and functionality of coating depends on the bulk of surface property of the coating materials. Critically, they depend on the adhesion between the coating and the underlying substrate. Hence, the major role of the surface preparation to ensure good adhesion and adequate protection value of coating. However, among the methods used for surface preparation and improvement of mechanical characteristics of materials, mechanical and thermomechanical surface treatments, such as shot pinning, deep rolling, and nitriding, which can improve service life and resistance to fatigue by developing residual compressive stress and or including surface hardening. On the other hand, the topography of rock substrate plays a beneficial role in coating adhesion. Moreover, fractal geometry has been introduced for the characterization of the surface state. It can also be used to evaluate the diversity of irregularity on prepared surface in the case of coating. From where the objective of this experimental study is firstly to evaluate the adhesion of paint coating on plastically deformed surface prepared by shot pinning by means of scratch test. Secondly, to show the effect of the shot pinning regime on the function parameter as well as on the fractal dimension. To do this, the material chosen is a microalloy steel according to the IPE 5LX22 standard used in the petroleum industry. And the chemical composition of the materials is shown in table 1. For the shot pinning process is carried out according to the methodology of complete factorial design 2 puissance 3. Three factors were considered, namely the pressure encoded in x1, the impact angle theta encoded in x2, and the time t encoded in x3. Each factor is taken at two levels, minimum and maximum, according to the table 2. And the experimental matrix is shown in table 3. And the shot pinning operation is consists in projecting steel bar under pressure of the simple surface after the shot pinning operation. A layer of paint was deposited on the surface of the sample tested. And the addition for the scratch test were carried out using a scratch test CSM instrument with a diamond point type Rockwell with a radius of 200 micrometers. And the value of the critical pull-out load or critical load are analyzed and measured at the end of the scratch test by optical microscopy. And for the 3D topography measurement, in the substrate coating interface is characterized by a 3D source profilometer type CPET technology CT100. Passing now at the integration of the result, we start with the shot pinning effect on the adhesion. The highest pull-out force is recorded for sample number 6. Where the two-factor pressure and time are taken at their maximum associated with a minimum impact angle, 13 degrees. This indicates that the coating applied to the surface of the sample is more efficient, which is due to the good mechanical encroaching of the coating. And the figure 2 shows the optical image of the track scratching for sample 6. The panoramic profile of the track shows a plastic deformation with rupture phenomena at the end of the tract. It can be concluded that all the samples present an effective coating with good adhesion according to the value of critical damage loads, showing in table 4. And for the evolution of the elastic recovery ratio showing by the following relation, where PD is the penetration depth measured during the scratch test, and RD is the residual depth measured from the topography of the stripe. The results show that the highest value of the recovery ratio is equal to 68.68% is recorded for sample 2 with region parameter, pressure equal to 7 bar and theta equal to 13 degrees and time equal to 1 minute. This result indicates that sample 2 have a better viscoelastic behavior of the surface after coating. And we see that figure 4.1 show an example for the evaluation of the penetration depth, which integrate the elastic and plastic deformation of the layer substrate system. And the residual depth RD represents the plastic deformation of the layer substrate system. And figure 4b shows the normal force Fn during the scratch test as a function of the scratch length respectively. And concerning the shot pinning effect on the fractal dimension, the highest value of the fractal dimension is recorded for test number 7 and 8, where the two-factor theta and t are taken at the maximum at their maximum levels. This is explained by the fact that the high time and an angle of 19 degrees generate an increase in surface irregularity, and this tends to increase the fractal dimension. However, the lowest value of fractal dimension was recorded for test number 2. This observation showed that the two factors of the shot pinning process, impact angle and time, have a more significant effect on the fractal dimension than the pressure. This is shown by the more or less uniform irregularity at the depth of the stripe. And the shot pinning effect on the fractal parameter we see from the figure 6 that sample 6 presented the highest value of the operator criteria SK and the satisfactory value of lubrificated criterion SVK, and the lowest value of raining criterion correspond to pressure and time taken at their maximum levels. This result is due to the speed of generation of peaks and valley, who is in dynamic equilibrium with the speed of reduction of the high of the peaks. And in conclusion, the adhesion, efficiency, and resistance of coating to damage are related to their property and the surface state of the substrate. Shot pinning is a mechanical process for surface preparation adopted in this study. Control of the process parameter is essential to ensure good adhesion of the coating. Based on the results obtained, it can be concluded that the highest pull-out force was recorded for sample number 6 at the scratch length of 5.95 millimeters. And the highest elastic recovery ratio is recorded for sample number 2, where the pressure is at its maximum levels. And the lowest and the two-factor theta and T have a more significant effect on the fractal dimension than the pressure. And the best fractal dimension value is obtained for sample 7 and 8. And the best value of functional parameter are recorded for sample number 6. And thank you for your attention.
Good evening, myself G. Prasanna Kumar. My research paper is Impact of Interest Rates on the Development and Growth of Stock Market in India, an overview. And I am the first author, and the second author is Dr. B. Rajesh Kumar. Okay, coming to the abstract. So my research paper presents abstracts. Investment, inflation, and unemployment are only some of the economic factors that interest rates influence. The stock market and the economy both respond strongly to change in interest rates, which are crucial macroeconomic variable. This paper exhibits the definition of repo rate, bank rate, various types of interest rates, relationship between interest and stock markets, and various interest rates regarding the study, analysis of interest rates and stock markets, and particularly Nifty 50, and comparative analysis of periodical interest rates with compared to Nifty 50, and finding of the study with conclusion. So we are all know that our central banks in India, RBI, in USA, Fed, every time they play crucial role in interest rates while regulating the economy regarding to the inflation, unemployment, and at the same time that inflation, that interest rates affects also stock markets and investors also. So this paper exhibits how to affect the interest rates regarding stock market. Introduction. Investment, inflation, and unemployment are one of the economic factors that interest rates influence. It is the common practice of national central banks to lower interest rates in effort to stimulate domestic spending and investment. Risky and perhaps leads to the informal economic bubble. So low interest rates are often advocated as microeconomic strategy. The stock market and the economy as a whole is profoundly affected by interest rates, which constitute a crucial economic variable. When inflation is strong, it eats away from the purchase power of the currency and brings down the actual interest rates on investments and profitability of the businesses. So stock prices fall even when interest rates and the message to the investors to the bonds and provide a better ratio than stocks. So if stock price falls at enough business, the market as whole, at least Sensex and Nifty and other, many people think of the market will fall. So if shareholders have less confidence and expand and generate profits in the future, the stock price is less likely to rise because of this stock ownership may become less appealing. There is also the perception that investing in stock carries too much risk. So rate hikes might help some people but could hurt others. So some of the sectors that stand to gain in the financial sector, banks, brokerage, mortgage banks, and insurance companies all stand to make more money when interest rates go up, when they can charge more for their services. So a few variety of interest rates. So coming to the following are the examples of financial products which banks charge variety interest. Interest rates on savings accounts, we all know that. Second, interest rate on banks on certificate deposits, bank rate on money market accounts, and cash reserve ratio. So the cash reserve ratio key role. So the cash reserve ratio estimates the extent of bank stores that should be kept in promptly accessible money. The RBI mandates this, thus cash on hand must be stored there. So this is a literature survey. So past authors and researchers has encountered some views regarding this study. So here I present Pami Dutta, Nishant Raji, RBI, Reserve Bank of India working papers, Monetary Policy Committee constituted under the RBI Act. So Bhavani S. Saha introduced this capital market issues. So he presented his views. So here I presented all the views. So these are all the same thing. Next, objectives of the study. Interest rates are periodically maintained by MPC committee. MPC means Monetary Policy Committee in India, which guidelines of RBI. The RBI governor makes to stabilize the economy in order to take decisions to increase or decrease the interest rates and control the inflation in India. To know the basic context and importance of interest rates in India, to analyze the impact of interest rates on capital markets, to understand the historical interest rates and stock market trends in India. And coming to the data and methodology, this study is based on the purely secondary data and with the help of Reserve Bank of India website and various financial platforms. Okay, this is the analysis and interpretation. Table 1 shows the last 10-year historical data of interest rates in India. In the year 2014, interest rate was high. After 2019, MPC keeps on decreasing interest rates because inflation was in RBI comfort zone. So every country central banks have some comfort zone regarding inflation. So if inflation rises, so country central banks has decided to raise the interest rates. So here this is the historical data of interest rates in India. So while see this 2010, there is an interest rate of 6.25, later 6.75. So in 2013, there is a higher interest rates because at that time inflation was high in India. In 2015, 14, like that. So in 2020, because of COVID pandemic, everybody has suffered. So that's why RBI decreased interest rates gradually and keep on continuing only 4%. And recently they increased interest rates. So in 2022, now 5.90%. So this is the graph. And table 2 shows the historical Nifty 50. So I'm taking the as an economical indicator as a stock market. So in 2010, Nifty 50 is index is 5,232. So later on, in 2022, now Nifty 50 is 17,625. Okay. Shows the historical Nifty 50 data. There is an important stock market index in India called Nifty 50, which is a weighted average of 50 of the top firms in India that are traded on the National Stock Exchange. It is a major stock market index in India along with BSE Sensex. It represents the entire capital market growth and development in India. By observing this table, in the year 2015 to 2017, there was a no growth and return in stock market. So 2015 to 2020, there is a no return. Okay, and this is the historical graph. And coming to the table 3 shows the combined data of interest rates and Nifty 50. So while we see there is a drastic change, drastic downfall in while RBI has increased the interest rates. There is 6.75 to 75, 6.75. There is a downfall. Okay, and now 2022 5.90 and now 17,625. From the above table 2014, there is 8%. There was the highest interest rate in India, but stock market returns are less compared to 2015. Okay, RBI decreased interest rate 8% to 6.75%, stock market returns increased rapidly. Therefore, highest interest rates from RBI are not so favored to stock markets. And findings of this study reveals that the conclusion between India's interest rates and the country's raising capital stock. The following are the findings from the above study. RBI reported increase or decrease to controlling inflation in India, and these rates are indirectly impact the capital markets. And second finding, growth of capital markets are not only depends upon the interest rates. So there is so many factors, impact factors like company financial performance regarding quarterly, of yearly, and global markets like global cues, US markets, liquidity issues, supply chain issues, etc. And finally, conclusion, the National Bank RBI frequently knows the money-related powers, outputs, approaches, loans to the way of behaving of the economics, most significantly financial factors, for example, expansion of conversion standard, credit extension, since private entrepreneurs of the most part confidentially banks purchase cash from the national bank at the arrangement of finance cost. So it backs as benchmark as any remaining loan fees in the economy. Subsequently, the banks could furnish their clients monetary items, the loan cost that are typically fixed to the approach rate. So interests are not only major driver of stock markets growth and development. Nevertheless, the banking sector, a significant participant of the stock market, does benefit indirectly from these policies. And these are the references I have taken from other research papers. Okay, thank you.
Prasanna Kumar, for your presentation. Please to be in touch. We'll see how to intercollaborate with this.